Some names just scream the South, and with a name like Hickory, this speedway absolutely fits in with the roots of short track racing. But being built in an era where things were eyeballed, you better be ready for a place that isn't millimeter perfect. Instead, you'll have to race millimeter perfect as we get ready to watch round 2 of the Misfit Touring Series, and you'll see it all live here on Podium Esports. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is DJ Clark. Behind the scenes is our director, Ryan Bauer, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. DJ, after last week, we make things even tighter and even shorter here with Hickory and with just as much history behind it.
Yeah, we certainly do, Joe. This 0.36-mile oval, and I use that term a little bit loosely because it's frankly almost a little bit more like an egg-shaped oval in the way that it runs, in the fact that you've got 2 different corners at 2 different radii as they come around. It's going to make things very, very difficult. This one is going to be a real driver's track. You've got to find a rhythm, and you've got to kind of find it in a weird way. It's almost akin to a Darlington or a Motegi in the way that it drives, albeit on a much shorter, narrower, and bumpier way to go around.
Exactly, and well, as we take a look at the schedule, we're going to have more tracks that don't quite fit the mold next week with Rockingham. But after Jake Sylvia took the win at Five Flags, can he back it up here at Hickory Motor Speedway, especially since they have since tweaked some of the rules that we saw back at Five Flags here for tonight? We'll go over that in a little bit, but man, look at that schedule. As we said last week, this is a fantastic combination of tracks, a lot of greatest hits of the various short tracks that you have here on the service. And speaking of which, we'll get a good view here, DJ, of exactly what you were talking about. Not quite a perfect oval, and honestly, even that back straight is not perfectly straight either.
No, it's really not. Almost a little bit akin to some other tracks that are kind of like Rockingham in the way that it runs. But there you can see, and you can see from this overhead shot, the many different seals that have been put in on the track. This is an incredibly bumpy track surface, and so you're really going to have to be all over the wheel to make sure that you're not going to get thrown around as you try to drive this car around. It is going to be very, very tricky.
Yeah, it's certainly going to catch everybody out, I think, a little bit. And, well, it's going to be even harder to pass tonight. Let's check out the car that they are racing in case you didn't join us for last time. These are very, very powerful machines, but typical American stock car with 4 gears on it, front engine, rear wheel drive. Very, very heavy machines, but also quite wide. These are the Cars late model stock tours. So the actual race cars that are used across a lot of short tracks in America right now, thanks to the fantastic Cars series that Dale Jr. is helping run and bringing us all kinds of fun action and helping revitalize a lot of these tracks. As for tonight, same as last week, DJ, except the 100-lap feature, but everything else is pretty close.
Yeah, and the only real difference here is the caution laps are not going to count in that feature race, so that's going to be a big thing to keep in mind. The other thing to keep in mind is we've added a 6-car invert of the top 6, and so what that means is the 6th place car will be up in the lead. That's going to change things around a little bit. But the stories of the race is as you said, Joe, different corners here as you got to go. Make sure you know where it is. We've talked about the bumps already, and in these short heat races, you have got to be aggressive, you have got to be decisive, and you have got to get yourself to the front if you want to advance.
And in case you did miss it last week, one thing to keep in mind is the qualifying, which has already taken part, will set part of the final race as well, because the drivers who qualified in those top 12 are automatically through. But here for the first heat, on top of it, it is Keegan Bush starting on the pole position with Ed Papineau next to him in second. Easton Reidner will start in P3 as Kenny Troughton will start in 4th and Angel Ortega will be in 5th. Joey Steenbergen will be P6 today. Then on row 4, you'll see Rick Kehoe. After that, it is Travis Wilhite in the 8th spot. And then the top 10 are rounded out by Austin Damore and Ryan Smith.
As we move back into the 6th row, it's Ryan Walling there, followed by Josh Flynn in P12, Bradley Stefane in 13th, and Jared Shell rounding out the rest of your field here. At this point, Kyle Adams, I believe, is technically listed as an administrator, so he is not going to be gridding up here today. A big heat here because of the relatively lower numbers, Joe. We've only got one heat race to run here tonight. The top two will automatically advance.
Whew, out of 15 cars, this is going to be some tense stuff out there. And a track, as we said, that is a lot smaller, a lot bumpier, and difficult to pass at, that I wonder if we will get much of a green flag racing in this one. Like we said before, though, those green flag laps are the only ones that count. So if we get the caution laps, that should only pause things momentarily before we hopefully get some consecutive green flag laps in. Just waiting for the drivers to finish gridding up. Then they'll have 2 pace laps and we will be on our way. Based on what we saw last week and drivers kind of getting accustomed to all this, DJ, what's the big things you think they need to look out for?
Consistency, smoothness, and not making mistakes here. That is going to be the biggest thing to be able to do here. The other thing to keep in mind, it's 68 degrees Fahrenheit track temperature right now. So you are going to have to take it especially easy on these first opening laps. Make sure you don't try to drive too aggressively on colder tires, as that is going to be a one-way ticket to disaster.
Certainly, and well, with so many drivers out here in the heat, you know, that is also going to be a part of it. It's going to lighten a little bit, of course, once they get into the consolation race, but there's still going to be a scant few drivers that are advanced through into the feature race itself, as there, in fact, I think only one driver is going to manage to make it through into the feature, if I'm seeing correctly. So it's literally win and you're in there for that one, as it looks like we are ready to go, and the green flag is out for our heat race tonight, as down in turn 1, Keegan Bush has got himself a nice little run, not able to challenge him around the outside with that number 10. Easton Ryder, though, is going to move into second from third.
Yeah, a little bit of a slide there from Easton Ryder. That's a good move for him to be able to hold on. Ed Papineau trying to hold on to that third place position. Big wiggle in the back there for one of the machines. I think that was Kenny Trout.
Last week, we saw a lot of very loose race cars. This is an open setup series, so hopefully the drivers have got a little bit better handle on it, although there are still a ton of marbles up on the high side.
Yeah, there really are. They're going to have to watch out for that. We ride on board with the number 25 of Trout as he catches a big wick of oversteer there coming through the corner. He's going to have to settle down into 5th place position.
Yeah, ahead of them, looks like maybe a challenge for the lead, and actually Ryder's going to take it away, as Bush is not able to hold on. Down below him, the number 10 of Ed Papineau is going to try and counteract that, as Ryan Smith, it looks like, involved in an incident along with Josh Flynn down in 1 and 2.
Yeah, it looks like those two came together trying to come through the corner there. We're going to jump back and take a look at the replay and exactly what happened here. Now, this is going to be coming down into that first corner, a little bit of a checkup, and that's a lot of what we saw last week as well, not anticipating fully what the driver in front of you was doing and just getting thrown around as a result of that.
Boy, it really worked its way backwards, because Flynn got into the back of Austin Demore, and then it was Smith that spun Flynn around, and then behind them it was Ryan Walling that spun Flynn around, or Smith around as well. So it just kept on kind of going backwards down through the order. And did we just have something happen on the front stretch just now?
I wasn't taking a look at it. I'm not entirely sure what happened there. We'll have to see if we can pull up a replay as we take another look there. Yeah, Walling just left with nowhere to go. As you said off the early part of this broadcast, Joe, these are very heavy cars, and the brakes, they do what they can, but they're not exactly perfect.
So I was able to track it down. Austin Demore, I think, got hit from behind under yellow conditions, so that spun him around. Everybody thankfully checked up after that, but certainly caused some issues. And sometimes the drivers obviously get a little bit upset about some of these things. But right now, up at the front, it is Easton Ryder who is ahead of it all. Thankfully, doesn't have to worry about all of that as Keegan Bush follows him. Last time it was Keegan on the restart, DJ, that had the advantage. This time it's going to be switched around.
Yeah, as they would take a live look at Easton Ryder, really working that number 7 machine, trying to get as much heat into those tires as possible here as they go. Taking a quick check there. I think we'll be back to green flag conditions after this lap. more weaving here, making sure that those tires are staying up to temperature as much as possible, as it's very, very difficult to make sure, again, with these 68-degree track temperatures. Indeed, we are racking up, stacking up, ready to go back double file.
All right, so getting ready to restart on lap 5. Can we get through for the remainder of this first heat race? Because we did get some good green flag racing in there, but unfortunately just cut short about at the halfway mark. Here we go. Reidner on the inside, and green flag is out. He is able to get a decent start, but around is outside. That 27 of Keegan Busch is actually holding on a lot better than what we saw before. He's going to be able to keep second place as long as he can shut down the 10 down on the bottom side.
Yeah, that's Ed Papanow trying to be able to gain his way back up forward. Remember, Ed was second, qualified second here in this heat race, and he's going to look down to the inside, taking a narrower line there through the corner, and I think that's actually going to come back to favor as we've got another yellow flag in the air.
I think it was Demore involved in this one again, getting a little bit loose. I don't know if he had help, but down through 1 and 2, he started to spin. Everybody behind him couldn't help but get collected in all the calamity, unfortunately. Let's take a look and see if he, oh yeah, 52 just turned him.
Yeah, big time turnaround there. That's Travis Willite there that got into the side of him. I think just didn't necessarily anticipate him cutting down the corner that much as Travis tried to be able to keep it. We're going to take a look on board here with Travis. Coming across the main straightaway, just dives it down low. Yeah, just got into the back of him.
Unfortunately, cut right at the wrong times, and but you see the results regardless. So a bunch of cars just kind of innocently winding up in the pile there. We'll slow it down once again. We got a couple laps in. Let's watch it from Ryan Walling's perspective here.
Yeah, there you see a little bit of a wiggle. Now, I'm not entirely sure if that wiggle was as a result of that contact or maybe a little bit of a brush with that down inside barrier, but one way or the other, definitely found himself in a little bit of trouble.
Now, one of the things that struck me with that onboard that I couldn't tell from before is there are a lot of sparks. I mean, I know we were talking about how bumpy the track is, but as low as these cars ride, I didn't think they rode that low. This track must really be a wild bucking Bronco.
It very much is, Joe. You are holding on for dear life your entire way through this track. It is not easy. It will come back to bite you, and you really and truly have to be up on the wheel the entire time to make sure that you're okay, because it will fight you the entire way through.
You can see our wall of drivers that we have today, 5 of them giving us their webcam feeds to see their experience out there and get all the emotions from behind the wheel. See if we get the lights out on the pace car this time, as it is still Easton Reidner up at the front. Keegan Busch is in second, and Papanow is in third. Found it interesting that on the first initial start, DJ, that the 10 was able to kind of sneak under, but the 27 did a much better job of trying to keep the outside line on the restart from being a death knell.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised by that as well. I didn't necessarily think that was the way it was going to play out. But I've got to give a lot of credit there to Keegan Busch to be able to make that play as we come back single file here at this point, back to green flag conditions.
Reidner on the top spot, chase there from the 27, and down below I see Ortega trying to see if he can sneak in to pass Papanow for third position. Almost gets his nose in there, but not quite. We've lost Ryan Smith and Ryan Walling, so 12 cars out there all vying for the top 2 spots.
And here fighting for 3 right now is going to be Angel Ortega and Ed Papanow as they try to do it. Ortega actually using the apron of the track to try to be able to get that car to rotate as we ride on board with Kenny Troughton with 2 laps to go.
They're just slowing each other up. They're losing touch with those top 2. There's not going to be enough time, I don't think, to try and catch up to that lead pair who are automatically going to advance through to the feature. White flag is out with 1 more to go. Easton Reidner, starting it from the second position, was able to take to the lead quite quickly, and behind him, Busch was not able to hold him down, as Easton will win our heat race tonight. He and Keegan Busch will advance through.
Yeah, that's a great run there for Easton Reidner. Definitely did what he needed to do, was very, very decisive in the way that he drove up through the field. You've got to give him a lot of credit there for that. He not only knows how to lead, but he knows how to pass.
So our results for the last one will now there be on the screen, and there's your top two. Those drivers you will not see until we get to the feature. Ortega's going to start on the pole. Could be critical here for the consolation, and just moments from now, everybody else on down will have to join him in this last chance qualifier to get into the feature race. Gridding up right now. And on the top of it, Angel Ortega is next to Kenny Troughton. Ed Papineau is going to be starting in third, followed by Josh Flynn in the fourth position. Joey Steenbergen will start P5 as Travis Wilhite will be sixth and Austin Moore seventh. Then it is Bradley Stefane P8 and Jared Schell ninth with Rick Kehoe. Right now, to top 10. I'll just finish these out as we only got three more. Ryan Walling and Ryan Smith on the next row. And Kyle Adams, I believe, actually is not starting in the races. He is one of the admins here in the session. So already ready to go. 15 laps to try and narrow down 12 drivers to just one, DJ, top 12 going to the feature. Actually, no, it's going to be all drivers. I take that back.
Yeah, and so what this is going to do here, Joe, at this point is this is going to decide the gridding positions ostensibly for the back half of the field, and that's going to be really crucial. We did see some overtaking there in that first heat race. We saw that it is possible, but it's not guaranteed. So I think you're going to see some definite scraps here up towards the front of the field as these drivers try to be able to get the best starting position they can get.
This is a nice relief for everybody that at least they'll all be able to take part in the feature. But as you said, those at the back are going to have to start from the back of the feature. And we've already seen just how rough that can be and how quickly everything kind of is a chain reaction towards the back of the field. So you probably want to be in clear air in this race from the beginning on out. But we'll see if they can do that. Thankfully, no pit stops to shuffle that up. Thankfully, depending on who you are, I suppose, because if at the back, that's not a thankful thing. Here we go. Let's see who will have something to give thanks for here in November as the green flag is out. And up at the front, Kenny Troughton going to try and lead the way over Ortega. He's holding tough around the outside of 1 and 2. He's at least got a half a car length up on him.
Yeah, but there goes Ortega trying to dive the car down in low to see if that's going to play out at all. Right now at this point, though, we've got our first yellow as a spin coming off of turn 4.
Jared Schell in the 34 car, it looks like, and a single car incident at the very back, just getting a little bit loose, unfortunately. Whoa, as someone was backing up onto the track there briefly, thankfully did not make contact. So watch the white car, just could not get the rear grip.
Yeah, and that again is going to be a result of those cold tires and this cold track temperature that they're going to have to deal with. That's just overdriving the car a little bit for them. And so they're going to have to learn from that. And I think that's going to be a real important point for these drivers to keep in mind. They're going to have to try to make sure that they don't overdrive the car, that they don't push it too hard too early.
And Travis Wilhite was the one that we saw stopped at the bottom of the track. Just as we went to replay there. He got spun around right as the yellow was coming out. As he got loose, car behind couldn't avoid him, spun him down to the inside. It was actually a decently hard hit. I'm kind of surprised he's still out there able to run and not needing some repairs.
Yeah, I am as well. But these cars are a little bit tougher than I think sometimes we give them credit for, so we do have to remember that. I think at this point, he's just going to try to see if maybe there is a little bit of a better run for him, and he's going to be able to keep things moving along.
Double file. We'll try a 2 wide restart on this one to see if they will try and switch that around to a single file like we saw back during the heat race just moments ago. But 00 on the bottom side, 26 technically. No, it says 00 on the car. Green flag is out, and Angel Ortega once again on the point, going to try and fend off the likes of Troughton, who drifts up high earlier this time around. Ed Papineau tries to see if he can get his nose in, and he can. Just nudges the 25 up the hill slightly.
Just nudges him up the hill, but that's going to be enough to make it play here at this point. Papineau being very aggressive, almost getting into the side there, the number 25 of Kenny Troughton.
Thought he was going to be able to make that pass down low all the way to the apron. The 62 of Steenbergen is actually going to be able to make it stick. He'll get to the inside of the 10. Remember, all drivers are through, but this will decide the starting order as another caution is out, and it's Jared Schell for the second time. It looks like maybe Bradley Stefane also involved in this one.
Stefan being involved in this at this point, and he's going to find himself back down towards the end of the field. Let's go back and take a look at the replay, figure out exactly what happened. That was a monster lick down to the inside.
So his accident already happened. A little loose. Oh, it looked like he drifted up into, trying to make out who that was, but somebody just kind of gave him an accidental hip check, and that sent him spiraling down to the inside. And unfortunately, Shell was trying to avoid the accident, but couldn't get the car slowed up in time.
Yeah, just couldn't get it wound down, and really nowhere for Jared to go at that point. Absolutely unfortunate for him, and I've got to imagine some pretty hefty damage. You can see it there on the front of the car, and another hit just for good measure.
Accidental, I'm sure, between the two of them. Stefan's actually gone back out. I'd be amazed if that car actually keeps rolling okay, because, boy, he took a lick. But I believe it was into the pits for the other car, and I think, yes, it looks like Jared Shell is in pit lane right now, so he's getting repairs done. We've had another incident under yellow. Ryan Walling this time turned around by Bradley Stefan accidentally, I think.
Yeah, and I think that just goes to show you the difficulty of this circuit, Joe. I mean, it is not easy, even under the most simple of circumstances, when you are going around under yellow. It's just kind of catching everybody out here at this point.
All right, so we're only on lap 4 out of 15. This is still the consolation race. This is to set the last positions for the feature grid. And I see Ortega still as our leader. He's survived these restarts so far. Honestly, credit to Kenny Troughton, especially on that last one, DJ. Again, starting from P2 looks like it is quite difficult, and for him to be able to get down in that P2 successfully twice now says that he's got a good handle on things.
Yeah, it really and truly does. He's driving a great race here at this point. I'm very, very impressed with that white and red number 25 machine, doing a fantastic job here early on to make things play.
All right, double file and ready to go with Troughton on the outside. Can he do it once again and keep from losing P2? Green flag is out, and it looks like the 26 gets a very good jump. There's an opening at the bottom if he wants to take it. Can't quite get down there in time. Kenny Troughton very loose behind them for Joey Steenberg, and he gathers it up in time.
That was a great bit of car control there for Steenberg, and he's got to watch out to not get absolutely swallowed up here. He's going to find himself down in 7th position as they cross over the line to start on lap number 6. He was able to keep it going, but that just goes to show you the momentum that you've got to carry here for these cars. Yeah,
he lost a ton of positions. He's going extremely shallow to the bottom in the meantime, and it didn't quite work out for him as we head up to Ryan Smith. Actually, back to Ryan Smith, who is just behind Steenberg, and is going to go around the outside, but there's no room.
No room at the end there for him as they continue to duck and dive their way on through. Smith going to be able to try to get that position away there as they run. We look out back right now of Angel Ortega, your leader here early on in the running.
Troughton's keeping him honest, and looks like there might be a bit of a battle behind them as well there in the background, side by side between Papineau and Josh Flynn for P3. Flynn to the inside, and the red and white, blue, gray and white to the number 10 of Ed Papineau, and he has to give it up.
He's got to give up the ghost. Josh Flynn going to be able to gain 1 position here. Your big mover in the race thus far is Ryan Walling, who is up 5 positions. But here we ride on board with the 25 of Kenny Troughton as he sets the fastest lap of the race on way to try to close down on Angel Ortega.
Very impressed with the races he has been running, even without the track position. Has been making sure to make this a race, if you will. Ortega, though, also withstanding that pressure from behind as Angel comes around through 3 and 4. Going to be 4 to go at the line this time. Can he hold him off for that much longer?
Well, it's going to be tricky here as he just continues to put pressure onto the back. Looking down low does that number 25 machine. We take a look back at Ed Papineau right now as here comes Troughton again, trying to make that look down to the inside on Ortega.
And we've seen all race long how these cars don't really line up. So if he makes contact, it's going to lift the rear of the 26 a fair bit and possibly send him spinning. He's got to be careful so as not to get a penalty if he wants to try and maybe nudge him out of the way. He is staying awful close. 2 to go now.
2 to go at the line. It's now or never time for Kenny Troughton, but it just doesn't seem like he's able to get the run off of the line that he necessarily wants to have there at this point. Ortega left the door open a little bit. White flag in the air.
1 to go. Ortega still holds the advantage. He is ahead, but Troughton has been filling his mirrors the entire consolation race. Nothing doing for him. The 26 of Angel Ortega is your winner for the consolation race.
Once again, and I know we said this last time around, but I'm very impressed here with Angel Ortega. Drove a great race last time out in that consolation race and did it the same here today. A cool defensive drive and did not crack under pressure.
Yeah, definitely a fantastic run, and that'll take us straight into the feature as we take a look at the results of that one. All 12 drivers will head off into the starting grid of this feature event, which sees Matt Urban on the pole position and Carter Stark starting from P2. Remember, they have inverted the top 6 in this according to qualifying. Deegan Smith will start 3rd as Tyler Mueller will start P4. Then it's Nick Rayberg in 5th position, and Jake Sylvia would have had the pole with his time. He gets regrid to 6th. John Gifford started on the pole last time in 5 flags, but had trouble in the race itself. Will the reverse be true with him starting from 7th today? Timmy Spatz will be P8, and Jeremiah Rychecki will be in 9th. Michael Wiseman will round out your top 10.
As we move back into 11th positions, it's Matthew Moniak, followed by Kendall Becker in P12. Moving back farther through the field, it's going to be Easton Reidner, Keegan Bush, your leaders there from that main, the first heat race that we saw. As we move back into row 8, it's Angel Ortega and Kenny Troughton, the winners from the consolation race. Then it's Josh Flynn and Ed Papino in row 9. Row 10 will be Travis Walleye and Ryan Wall.
All right, heading out, and again, for those that were here last week and are tuning in once again, we will have caution laps not count in this one, and they have re-grid the top 6 in qualifying. All 26 drivers who did enter this event are getting to race in the feature, so a good chance to try and accrue some points for this one.
Yeah, certainly will be at this point. As looks like, Joe, the lights are out on the iRacing safety car. It's time to go green from Hickory Speedway.
All right, there you can see the green flag up and ready, waiting patiently. There it is. Green flag is out and taking off down towards the first turn. It looks like it's a very good start there for Matt Urban. Down below, actually riding the apron a little bit, the 15 of Deegan Smith, hoping for an opening, but none is there.
Yeah, and it almost looked like there, the Carter Stark on the outside almost got a little bit of a jump start there. Had to check his momentum up a little bit as they come across the line, and we've got our first caution of the day.
Trying to see, I think Matthew Moniak involved. He's stopped on the track in the number 3 machine. And I think he had a little bit of help from the 7 of Reidner. Yeah, looks like it there. He gets just sent down backwards, didn't hit anything, so we'll get re-racked and restacked.
Yeah, we certainly will. We take another look at it here at this point, coming off of turn 2 down into turn 3. Just that little bit of how you doing there from Moniak. Just enough to be able to send them around.
Unfortunately, because of the rules of this series for Reidner, that means he's getting EOL for causing that caution, and he goes right to the back. That's going to make life quite difficult for him. And so we've already seen the heat race and the consolation race. Obviously, we've already got started, DJ, but based on what we've witnessed, and now that we've got some actual on-track experience with the cars, what are we expecting in this feature?
I'm expecting a little bit of scruffiness. This is a very difficult track, and the heat race and the last chance qualifier have really proved that out here at this point. For these drivers, I think they need to settle in, Joe. Just let the race come to them. Don't be trying to too aggressive too early. That was something that race control actually stressed earlier on. The difficulty of this track, you can't win the race in the first corner, but you could certainly lose it.
The old adage, we know it's true. It has been for a long time in racing, but the drivers will have to keep that in mind, even on the restarts, of course, as well. As we take a look at, we are now up to 6 drivers, one of which has gone a little sideways on us, unfortunately, as We'll try and get that sorted out maybe a little bit later so that we can get a nice angle on what their driving is like. So Matt Urban leads ahead of Carter Stark as it was in the initial start, but Deegan Smith kind of surprised there, tried to get aggressive to see if he could make something happen from third by almost passing the leader.
Yeah, I mean, really tried to make that move here for Deegan, and I think for him, you know, go for it. He had the opportunity. It wasn't a foolhardy move. It was certainly one that was in limits to be able to race his way around. So I think that was a good call there from Deegan to just try to see if he could get a little bit of a run. And I would say definitely keep your eye on that car through the rest of this race. That could be something fun to play for.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't cause an accident, so yes, he was going way down to the apron, but it seemed all fair to me as they come out of turn 4, and the green flag is out to restart on lap 3 of this race down into turn 1. We get a caution almost immediately. Rychecki gets turned around on the front straight.
Yeah, Rychecki here. Oh, in contact into the number 52 machine of Travis Willite there as they came across the line. Willite also looked like he was turned around maybe as a result of a checkup courtesy of that incident up in front. Let's take a look back at the replay, try to find out exactly what happened here to Jeremiah.
So watch Rychecki. He gets kind of punted around. That slows everybody behind. And then that is what eventually turns around Willite, as you said. As he gets going, it doesn't realize, no wonder. Through the A-pillar, you can't even see a thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's a pretty large pillar there, and you've got to watch out for it. And so he was just in an unfortunate situation. Interesting here, Matthew Moniak down into pit lane at the moment. Maybe just trying to get some repairs done on that car. Not entirely sure what Moniak is down in the pits for here at this point, but a 6.1 second stop. Remember, they can't change tires here in this race, so not sure what that was all about.
Exactly. I was just trying to think, because they don't need fuel either for this race, and he didn't really hit anything when he had his spin earlier, so I wonder if he had some contact that cost him. And it really did cost him, because I believe he's gone a lap down. No, excuse me, actually, because of the caution laps not counting, his bacon is saved. He has been able to get back in line with everybody else.
Yeah, right. No one can go laps down under yellow in this situation because caution laps do not count. And so that is the way that works there for that. But at this point in the running, we're going to have to see how everybody is able to do as they get their way back around here. I think we'll be one back to green here in just a short amount of time, as everyone just slowly but surely makes their way back around right now. We keep our eyes on the iRacing safety car. Lights are out. We're going to be back to green next time by.
We'll try and get themselves sorted. Now, there's good news, bad news. There is a time limit on this race. Bad news is it's 2 hours. So I hope we're not going to go to a full 2 hours for a 100-lap feature here. But we'll see, because with the caution laps not counting, this can certainly extend the race length quite a bit. Here we go. Green flag is out, and they get on the accelerator. Can we make it into the first corner this time? Plunging down into turn 1. No, we cannot, as we get another yellow. Jared Schell looks to be turned.
Oh, the 34 there coming off of turn 4, and I think this may have been a result, a little bit of a checkup coming off of the final corner. There we've got a live look at him. He's got to be careful. Contact with P2.
Oh. And unfortunately for Bradley Stefane, he was the one that made the contact. Remember, it was he and Jared Schell that made contact before, and Steenbergen. Oh my goodness, he was just mind his own business, and suddenly there's a car hooking him right into the wall. So I smell some bad blood brewing between a couple drivers, unfortunately.
Well, that's short track racing a little bit in the way that it goes. Yeah, there you see it, just kind of a jerk down to the left-hand side of the track, down to driver's left, and that definitely took both of those drivers out. Hopefully they'll be able to keep themselves on the straight and narrow, and we're not going to see any sort of retaliation here at this point.
Yeah, it's I don't think that was anything intentional, but the two making contact twice now is probably not endeared them to one another, no doubt, out on the circuit. Lap being given back, I think, to Deegan Smith, who seems to have had some sort of issue, so he's going to be cycling back around. I assume that's because he got involved in that caution, or the tussle during the caution, I should say. Boy, you said it would be scruffy, DJ, and you weren't kidding.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a scruffy race, and I think we'll be fine once we get a couple of laps under our belt here at this point. But drivers just need to calm down a little bit in the way that they're running. Everybody's very eager to try to gain positions early on, and the truth of the matter is you're going to gain more positions if you're calm, cool, and collected. You just got to keep everything underneath you and run your race. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing. Just run your race.
Well, so far, that's what Matt Urban has been doing. He just hasn't been able to race it very long as it goes. We're only on lap 4 of this race. He still has Tyler Mueller, who's going to be starting next to him, as it looks like Deegan Smith will restart from 3rd, as he was allowed back into his position. And they get lined up and ready here, double file. Let's hope that we can cross our fingers that we can get some more green flag racing here in the feature. In fact, I dare say it's been messier than it was in the heats and in the consolation, unfortunately. But I'm sure they'll sort it out as the green flag is out. And Matt Urban going to try and lead the way down into turn 1 ahead of Mueller, who is around the outside. Deegan Smith still trying to challenge that black number 78 up on his high side battle as well for 4th behind them.
Yeah, here as they go, we've been able to complete a lap under green flag conditions. The battle is on here for P2 as we go Noah's Ark. Deegan Smith, Tyler Mueller, Nick Ryberg, and Jake Sylvia as yet another caution flag will fly.
See Timmy Spatz turned around in the number 54 machine. Another case of a car just getting a little bit help. This time it's going to be Travis Wilhite, who just barely taps the rear. The cars once again look like they're quite loose in the corners, the smallest of touches, and around they go.
Yeah, that certainly is what it is. And then there you see the cars spinning around here at this point, just coming back down through the corner as they tried to be able to hold on to it a little bit. And just a little bit of contact, just the bare amount of contact to be able to throw the car around. And that's going to be enough to be able to absolutely send it around and put you into a world of trouble.
Something worth considering is that the drivers that have qualified up at the front are just getting going. That said, I think most of the problems that we have seen are towards the back of the pack on those who have been out on the circuit. But it is curious that those up at the front are handling this as well as they are, considering they had warm-up, they had the qualifying, and they haven't been out on this track for, what was it, maybe about a half an hour?
Yeah, about 40 minutes or so, Joe. That's how long that they were out on the track without really having an opportunity to get themselves out and going around. So it is certainly a difficult running there for them to do this. And we've got to remember this stop and start situation here for all of these drivers. It really throws you out of rhythm as a driver as you go. And so you need to try to build that back up a little bit as you continue to go here. And every time we get a caution, it's just going to throw you out of that rhythm yet again.
And they are talking to race control, or well, race control's talking to them is rather how it's going, and trying to both keep everybody calm, keep the race organized, and try it and encourage the drivers to clean up the racing so that we get a few more laps as we go double file. Once again, the good news is all this double file restart has honestly cleaned up a much wider line through all the marbles, which is sort of good news, bad news sort of thing. But now they've got marbles all over their tires on top of things. Green flag is out, heading back down into turn 1 once again. Can Deegan do something tricky from that 3rd position? He's been looking at it for quite some time, wanting to get ahead of Mueller. In fact, he's going to be able to get to his inside in 3 and 4.
Yeah, he's going to try to make that play here at this point. A little bit of a wiggle there behind him as we've got another yellow on the circuit.
Jeremiah Rychecki, Ryan Smith on the outside of turn 3. I think the 50 thought he was clear high, and he unfortunately was not. Although it does look like Rychecki had a little space from my angle. We couldn't quite see it from that. I think he had a little space to the outside that he could have maybe used up, but this to me seems like a bit of a racing incident more than anything.
Yeah, and you're going to get these when you've got a big field of 26 cars coming down through like this. It's not going to be the easiest run. As there we see them coming off the corner right now. Yeah, a little bit of a hook there. I think that was just a miscommunication on where they wanted to go.
Usually don't want to be facing your rival like that as you go into the corner. Yeah, I mean, it was maybe half a car's width, so I wouldn't really put it on right checky too much. But I can understand if the 50 thought maybe he had slightly more room. And once the momentum started going, like I said earlier, heavy cars, DJ. And if the car wants to go one way, well, physics say it's going to be a hard time stopping it from going that way.
Yeah, as an object in motion will tend to stay in motion here, and that's certainly the case for a lot of these cars. But right now, we continue to work our way around. We haven't had that many retirements, really. Only Jared Schell and Ryan Walling and Bradley Stefane being counted as out of this race, although it is said that Carter Stark is down in pit lane and has been down there for about 6 minutes at this point.
Yeah, Stefane and Schell are only DNF so far. Smith has a meatball flag, so he's going to have to wait patiently for getting that repaired, and that, of course, is perhaps due, or almost certainly due to this last caution that he was part of the accident. Once again, pace car peels in. We're on lap 7, restarting lap 8. Green flag is out for Urban. Very good start beside him from Tyler Mueller this time, but looks like he's a little bit deep into the turns 1 and 2 and allows the 15 to once again just get to his inside. This time he makes the pass.
Yeah, that was a very decisive move there for him as he's able to get his way up and forward. Deegan Smith now going to put his focus up ahead as Nick Rayberg is now going to be the one to challenge on Tyler Mueller. Mueller going the wrong way here in this race.
Rayberg's going to get third here. And as we ride on board with Sylvia, haven't seen as much from last week's winner. He's going to try and make a move to crack into the top 4 now, and it looks like he's going to successfully do that. Boy, Tyler having a hard time now on that outside restart.
Yeah, and it really just goes to show you if you get up onto that high line here, it's going to be very, very difficult. Oh, and Sylvia makes some pretty hefty contact there with the outside wall.
These cars are built sturdy, but I wouldn't do that too often. He smacked that outside coming out of 4. He carries on, has not lost the speed, and now sets his sights forward.
Yeah, he's going to set his sight forward here at this point, but one driver who is looking back is going to be Matt Urban. Bad run off of the corner there at that point. He's going to have to try to control himself and get back together here. Deegan Smith closing in behind. It looks like Deegan's got a better couple of runs coming off the corners.
Oh, just about gets his nose in. Remember what we said before. He seems to like to get creative and try some aggressive or unusual moves. Unfortunately, this put him a little bit off the line because there goes Nick Rayberg up into P2, picked his pocket.
Yeah, picked his pocket there, absolutely able to make it play. A good run there for him as now they come off the line here at this point, diving down into the corner, in through 3 and 4 as we get ready to take on lap 15. The 17 there of Rayberg almost up into the outside wall. Excuse me, the 16 there of Rayberg almost up into the outside wall. We jump back farther in the order. This is Easton Reidner, currently 13th place as a battle taking place in front of him between Ortega and Steenbergen.
Reidner looked fast last week as well at Five Flag Speedway, but he's been having to fight hard to try and make up some positions here. You can see how difficult it is to try and get down to the inside. Even coming off the corner, he had a better run, but 62 just was in the way.
Yeah, 62 just in the way. They are not able to make a play at that point, so they're going to have to try to work their way out as here he's down to the inside right now, trying to be able to make that work. Let's see what he's got.
Got a lot of trophies is what he's got backing him up, although he gets loose, nearly drifts up into the side of Steenbergen, and thankfully there's no contact made, but he had to lose some ground there as Travis Wilhite snuck by. Now it's side by side between Reidner and DeMoor for 14th.
All this for 14th position. That is how fierce this battle is. I think these drivers know that they've got a lot on the line here at this point, and they want to try to get themselves into good position as much as possible.
But how great has this been now that we're getting some green flag racing, some fantastic side-by-side action. Oh, poor Steenbergen is just dropping like a rock back there as we take a look up at the leaders once again. Rayberg is not content to charge his way up in his second after that fantastic restart. I think maybe Urban smacked the wall.
Yeah, I think he may have done that as well. A little bit of a blink there from Rayberg, I think, as we jump on board right now. This is the battle up for P1 at the moment. Jake Sylvia closing in behind. May have been a little bit of contact there between the 16 and the 48.
And a little bit of hook on the bottom for the 16. Gets him underneath Matt Urban. He's going to finish the pass. New leader in Nick Rayberg.
And here comes last week's winner, Jake Sylvia, up to the inside. Gave a little bit of how you doing there to the back of Rayberg, as he's now going to be able to slot in front of Urban as well.
Tell you what, the organizers have tried to slow down Sylvia a little bit by reordering the grid, but it looks to have only momentarily halted his progress, because in second place, I wonder if that 88 is going to be a difficult one to hold behind.
Yeah, I wonder the same thing as well. We're just going to have to see how it plays out, though. Oh, as that was a difficult move, almost up into the side of the wall.
Yeah, the 16 got loose, gathered it up in time, but the damage was done. Another new leader now. Jake Sylvia back to the top spot.
Yeah, he's looking to capitalize on the success he had last week. And if I'm Rayberg or Matt Urban, I am very concerned about that number 88 up into the lead. We saw the gaps that he was able to pull last time out, and I do not want to see him start to pull away at the front of this field.
Yeah, and he's got plenty of clear air until we get into traffic. Another smack into the wall by the number 16 of Nick Rayberg, unfortunately. He'll carry on. We're starting to see more and more drivers do that. I wonder if some of the drivers do not have a good long run setup here.
Yeah, very well could be the case. We'll have to see what exactly they are able to do as they try to get themselves working around here, as we've got another yellow flag.
Travis Wilhite got tipped around by Rychecki, and he goes for a wild ride after a second contact here, trying to see who it was that gets into him. Oof, pops him into the air, and that is Carter Stark.
Yeah, Carter Stark there getting into him, and unfortunately, as we've talked about, really nothing that Carter could do at that point. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time and had nowhere to go. Let's ride on board with the 92 as they come down through the corner. There you can see him. There you can see the incident taking place in front of him and just nowhere to go.
That was a very, very big hit between them. Wonder if we'll see another black and orange flag. Yeah, Travis Wilhite has a black and orange flag, so he has got to go into pit lane. He's actually having a hard time just getting the car turned around back to that pit lane, unfortunately. See a black flag for Jeremiah Rychecki. I think he's being given the blame for causing that yellow and being sent to the back, but it's a moot point, and you can see car usually is not supposed to have to steer that hard here.
No, I mean, there is sometimes a little bit of offset built into the wheel, but not necessarily what you want to have happen there if you're driving it around like that. So we are over the quarter race distance here at this point, and like I said earlier, Joe, I think as they start to build this rhythm, if we're able to get 2-3 laps of green flag running, we're going to see longer runs like this.
Yeah, I agree. It looks like that's kind of the nature of it. They need to get the momentum rolling, and when they do, it is fantastic out there. But the herd is dwindling, unfortunately. Sylvia is at the front of that herd right now, and Rayberg's in second with Matt Urban in third. But we've, as we mentioned, lost Jared Schell, Bradley Stefane. I wonder if Ryan Smith is out of this race at this point with how long he's been sitting in there for more than 5 minutes, I think, since the last caution, unfortunately. And Wilhite has been in and out trying to get the car back in working condition himself.
Yes, we are racked up and stacked up double file here once again, and we get to see what Jake Sylvia is able to do at the front of this field, leading us to green.
And green flag is out as we come back to the racing now. Sylvia has got the clear air. Can anybody do anything to reel him in? Rayberg's going to try and defend that second place from the high side before we go to caution almost immediately. This one with Kendall Becker, and unfortunately for Steenbergen, as he tries to return to the track, Rychecki was coming along and plowed into him accidentally.
Yeah, here we're going to take a look at exactly what happened here at this point. Just a little bit of consternation. Again, working their way around. Everybody turned around there at that point and really nowhere to go for them. There was that contact with Rychecki that you mentioned at the end, Joe.
And it's another checkup that caused it. The 20 of Kendall Becker just getting into Angel Ortega a little bit. That's what brings it out. Behind them, I got to say, very good save by Easton Rideout. If we want a good onboard, he did get a couple hits from this one, but considering how sideways this car was, I think he did a fantastic job of keeping this from becoming a mess for him. Watch this.
All right, as we check it out here at this point, let's keep our eyes on that run. There it is down into the corner. That's pretty impressive stuff there to make sure there wasn't any more damage.
That's Steenbergen in the 62 slowed up there. So here's Reidner. So watch his perspective. I'm curious to see what the hands are going to do here.
Yeah, I am as well. There, we're going to see the incident take place in front of us. Oh, back and forth and forth and back and forth. That was just absolute instinct.
What's Calvin Fish say? All arms and elbows inside the cockpit.
Yeah, that's briefly. Exactly what Cal would say.
I think that is a very graphic illustration of that right there. So great job by him to save that in the heat of the moment and keep him in this. We're on lap 28 of this race now. We're going to get restarted once again. Does look like it's already double file, so thankfully we'll have a short caution on this one.
Yeah, the race control has been bringing those caution laps down to get us back to green as soon as possible. Massive thank you there to them for that. Ooh, car up into the wall. That's Deegan Smith up into the side of the couch fence there. Maybe just trying to get out of the action. I'm not sure what that was all about.
Yeah, maybe had some sort of issue as the leaders get into one another. Drifting a little bit high, the 88 slams into the side of the 16. They still bang doors. This is opening the door for Urban. Urban's going to try and sneak under, but he can't quite make it.
No, can't quite make it work there at that point. A little bit of a look from behind from the 23 of Josh Flynn. He's got a little bit of momentum up on the high side, but he's not going to be able to make that play as we do get a couple of laps here under our belt. 3 wide farther back in the field.
Wow, this is perhaps the most exciting restart we have had since the night started, really, if anything. But they're starting to settle out. Angel Ortega still battling side by side with the 46 of Gifford.
Yeah, trying to be able to get and see what they can. Oh, contact farther back in the field. That was a big hit into the wall. I think that was Austin DeMoore that we saw there as we saw him, but everybody able to keep going the right way.
Looks like we are going to at least get the cars rolling here, so we're getting a few laps under green on board with Kenny Trout. Remember how high up he was running earlier on in the heat, but has not been able to do much so far as he's still in 13th and actually on the middle of almost 3 wide for a brief moment to his outside Papineau. Stark was trying to look inside.
Yeah, Stark trying to look inside, trying to get a little bit of a run there at that point, but just not able to make it play. Meanwhile, as they continue to go here, the 25 just holding in position right ahead of him. That is going to be a couple of cars. We ride on board with Jake Sylvia right now, up from 6th position. Remember that invert, he qualified on the pole and starting to grow a gap here of about a car length over Nick Rayberg.
Continue to lead the way. Sylvia 3/10 over Rayberg. Rayberg with a handy 3/4 of a second gap over Matt Urban. We got a car down low. I think that may have been Smith.
I think it may have been as well, but we're going to stay clean and green here at this point. 37 laps to go. A lot of scruffiness going on farther back in the field here as everybody tries to be able to get themselves sorted out. This is Kendall Becker, currently in 17th place, farther back down in the field, trying to be able to get a little bit of a move there on Ed Papineau.
Has to slot back into line. Just can't quite keep up with them. There's got to be a number of drivers with damage out there, too. We have to remember they don't have a spare car, so he got loose on top of it as we check in on the leaders. The 16 staying glued to the back of Jake Sylvia, our so far lone winner out of the one race we've held. Let's check in on Ad Papineau once again.
Yeah, Papineau's got a little bit of side-by-side in front of him. That's Deegan Smith and Joey Steenbergen, and that's going to come to an end, though, as we get another caution here on lap 39.
DeMoore in the 28 I saw stopped on the track. I'm going to assume that was from him, and I think he got some help from Timmy Spatz. Oh, no, well, that's not Timmy's fault, though.
No, it's
got really loose.
Yeah, the 7 got very squirrely coming off the line there at that point. He's riding there, and you can see him there just caught a little bit too much of that apron, I think, coming down through. Maybe got a little bit of wheel spin on the rear tires. So he came down here into 1 and 2. Actually, I think he caught the grass there, and that's what threw him off a little bit, and really nowhere for the car behind to go.
I'm kind of impressed with how much the drivers are using that apron, DJ, because I mentioned earlier, it seems like they're kind of using it to hook the car a bit, to get it to rotate, I think, and sometimes it's working, and as we saw just now, sometimes it doesn't exactly work.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very, very aggressive, but it's the way you've got to try to drive a lot of these short tracks. You know, when we talk about braking in these cars, 9 times out of 10, you're not actually using the brakes to slow the car down as much as you think. You're using the brakes to actually rotate the car through the corner. And so that's a huge thing to be able to do. And anything that you can do to help that car rotate, that's going to be mega.
All right, so we are at least up to lap 39 now, so we've put in a fair few, but we're still not quite to the halfway mark of the 100 laps that are set for this main event here. Jake Sylvia, your current leader, has come up from 5th, or from 6th position, up 5 spots to lead this race. Actually, where is our former leader of this race? Where did he wind up? Looks like pole sitter Matt Urban's actually currently in 3rd position, so he didn't lose too much. He's still hanging out there and trying to keep himself in play if he can at least possibly have a shot at it towards the end. We'll see if he does, because the green flag is back out and we are rolling once again. And as we've seen, 3rd place is not a bad place to be if you can get your nose in. He tries for it, but there's just not enough there as we go right back to yellow.
Oh, 3-car incident farther back in the field. That's going to be the 62. Looks like Ed Papanow, Kenny Trouton, and Joey Steenbergen. I feel bad for that 62 car. It seems like every time we look up, Joey's just involved in something, and 9 times out of 10, it hasn't been through a fault of his own.
This one, though, I think might be a bit more his fault. Yeah, he went in way deep in that corner. The 25 gets a big punt from behind, and that just kind of starts it. A number of cars going up high, including Demore and Rychecki having to take evasive action and taking damage because of it.
Yeah, definitely getting caught out there as a result of all of that, and that's going to bring everybody back around. We are on lap 40 as we continue to work our way on through at this moment. That is going to reset the field here, and what I will say here for these leaders is it is going to be a big thing here for them to be learning about one another, learning about what their runs are, and learning what they are going to be able to do for the drivers around them, learning how they're going to run.
All right, so as they get ready to restart once again with 16 cars still on the lead lap, Papanow unfortunately has gone a lap down. Rychecki is also 2 laps down from the lead. Kehoe 3 laps down. Carter Stark, who's back out, is 10 laps down. They all had to take repairs under green flag laps because they can't lose laps under caution since they do not count. But it is certainly created a situation where we have a lot of cars still on the lead lap, but it's been very few that have shown the speed to potentially try and challenge for the top spot. Can anybody take it to that 88?
I think that's the real question here at this point. Who is going to be able to take it to the 88? Who's going to be able to bring their way up forward? We are going to be going back to green flag racing here at this point. Joey Silva on point. Nick Rayberg to his outside.
Green flag is out. Sylvia with a very good jump, actually, this time over Rayberg in the 16. Urban's got a good chance. He tries to use the apron, as we were talking about, but it doesn't give him enough of a run. Top 4 looking single file. Then we start to get some side-by-side action behind them.
Yeah, and they're going to keep it clean and green here on the first lap as they run on through here at this point. Oh, car spinning across the main straightaway. Are they able to keep it good? No, they are not. Caution comes out again.
Trying to make out who that was. I didn't quite see it. Oh, Rychecki. Oh, boy. That's going to go down like a lead balloon, unfortunately. A car a few laps down, bringing out the yellow on his own. So it looks like, unfortunately, I think, I know they have a rule about if you cause, are considered the cause of, what was it, 3 cautions, you're out of the race, you're sat down. I wonder if him just leaving was that right there.
Yeah, I think that may be it here at this point for him, bringing it on down and calling it a day for him. Lap 42 of 100 as we work our way around right now. It looks like they are going to shorten up the caution periods here yet again to try to get us back to green flag conditions.
And those green flag conditions were looking good for a good 20 or so laps, 20 to 30 actually, I think, that we got under our belt for a brief while before this is kind of erupted once again. Looks like Josh Flynn going to try and get back out. He is now a lap down, and only 15 are on the lead lap. We're losing more and more cars to some accidents and having to sit and take repairs a little bit too long to stick with it. They're trying to at least carry it out to the finish of the race, because there's definitely points to be earned even if you don't finish on the lead lap.
Yeah, very much so, and we are getting a message from race control here at this point that they have turned the restarts back to single file order at this point, hopefully in a way to calm down a little bit of that craziness, get us to get more of those green flag runnings here about this.
All right, so let's see if that helps out. That is basically the signal from race control that, listen, you guys got to clean this up because you can't handle yourselves. As we go green flag racing, and a single file order down into turns 1 and 2 does look a little bit more orderly, but the 16 chasing the 88 doesn't necessarily have what he had before with the track position, but at least he can get to the bottom easier.
Yeah, at least he'll be able to get to the bottom a little bit easier here at this point. We go around here on lap 44, trying to be able to get in go. Good run there off the corner for Nick Rayberg. He's going to be able to close in behind a little bit as they go, and almost touching the bumper there, the 88 in front of him.
Sticking with him as we ride on board with Nick, watching from behind that number 88 down into turn 3 now. He's been holding him off on these restarts. One thing we haven't talked about, and I know these caution laps, these extra laps are under caution, but they've been wearing out these tires all night. Remember, they have to use them from start to finish, DJ.
Yeah, they are not able to change tires here at this point, so tire wear is going to be a big concern, although the cooler track temperatures will help them in that regard. We ride on board Deegan Smith there for a moment as he tried to trail around behind, trying to see if he can get a little bit of an advantage. Michael Weissman right now trying to move down to the inside there of Tyler Muller in 4th place.
Nothing there for him, and the 78 will retain P4. Getting close to the halfway mark in this race. Definitely a bit of a train forming behind Tyler at this stage. As you can see, the 46 also in there along with the 00.
Yeah, trying to be able to get something to play here. Angel Ortega moving up through the field as we thought he might do. Ortega up into 7th place, trailing in behind that number 46 machine, trying to close in a little bit more. Defensive line for the 46 as Ortega just tries to get by Gifford as much as possible.
They're going to have to stay as they are, at least for now. They're starting to be gained upon by Deegan Smith and Timmy Spatz behind them, so they can't dilly-dally much longer. If they feel like they can pass Tyler, somebody's going to have to give this one a go. Look at how close he is to the rear of the 45.
Yeah, and this is classic short track racing where you are dealing with margins that are absolutely infinitesimal, as we are officially at the halfway point here in this race. Oh, and a spin goes around the 0 of Angel Ortega.
He thought he could get his nose in, and he made an ambitious move on the 46. 46 didn't realize he was going to be there, just chopped down across him. And Deegan, unfortunately, was at the wrong place at the wrong time, just caught a piece of it. I think he got away, but not without a little bit of more trading paint.
Yeah, exactly. As we take a look at that there, just a miscommunication coming down into the corner once more. Not exactly what you want to have happen there. We're going to ride on board with Deegan Smith as he comes through the corner. Just a hapless passenger, really, in terms of all of this.
I can't really blame Angel for giving that a try, especially with how backed up they were in that situation. I feel like I probably would have gone for a dive too, just hoping that it would stick. And to be fair, like I said, I think he was there. I just think the other car, the 46, didn't realize that he had some overlap by the time they came down to the apex.
Yeah, I think that's an accurate assessment of what we just saw there, Joe, and I certainly think that is the case here at this point. 49 laps to go from Hickory Motor Speedway, and we will be back to green flag conditions here. It looks like within about a lap or so, excuse me, that was from the last caution period we have when I saw that switch back around. So, but should be back to green flag conditions here very, very shortly. And I've got to say that single file restart really worked a treat here.
Yeah, that gave us a few more laps. Unfortunately, it did go away eventually, but it was a nice, good, clean restart. I assume they're probably going to be keeping it this way because I haven't seen them switch it back since then. But at least we passed the halfway mark on the race, and Now we're waiting for them to get going once again. Lights are out on the base car. So this time by, we'll get the green, restart on lap 53. And let's cross our fingers that we can get some more green flag running and see some more great side-by-side racing like we saw there over those last couple laps. Pace car is in. Sylvia's been given the green, and he takes off like a shot down towards turn one, although maybe not as quickly as he would have liked. Around the outside, who is that coming up? That's Michael Weissman.
Yeah, Weissman really tried to make that move play there. Didn't get the momentum coming off of turn two. We got a car spun down to the inside.
Keegan Bush in the number 27, unfortunately. Don't see anybody else with him, but I think he did get some help from the 20. Oh, and the 20 is also turned around in turn three. Oh, he's had big hits. So the initial thing that caused the caution, this 27, you could see, single car incident, nothing really dramatic. It's the 20 of Becker. Let's watch him here after this initial spin. Yeah, look at that. He gets turned around by the 25. Now watch this. Oh.
And that's the 70 machine. That's Rick Kehoe that gets into the side of him there. Rick clearly thought he had clearance as he went around. Yeah, that's the initial tap there. Let's ride on board with Kehoe. Is there, yellow comes out. He moves up the track, and frankly, just a little bit blindsided by those cars up on the higher side.
I was just wondering what happened because without seeing from his angle, it looks like he's flying into that accident. And yeah, it makes much more sense now, seeing how blind he was on the way in. Unfortunately, just kind of the nature of things is we watched from Sylvia there briefly. So this is one more on board from Rick.
And we've got to remember here that that camera that we have is indeed a camera that is in the middle of the car. Rick is actually positioned over on driver's left, so he probably wouldn't be able to see that. There's Joey Steenbergen, as you can see from him. And there you can see, yeah, and Steenbergen again, just a hapless passenger through all of that.
Been the story of his night. All right, well, as we mentioned earlier, we've lost Rychecki on top of Shell and Stefane. Also, Demore is out of this race. Wilhite has been an official DNF, and I believe Ryan Smith might also be out of this one. Rick Kehoe is also got a black and orange flag as the green flag is out. And once again, the single file starts not looking all that strong for Sylvia, who gets tipped around. Everybody dodges, and it is the big one at a short track. Everybody is into it. But the 88 is, I think, going to get very little damage since he was spun off to the side, but those from behind have been sent to the parking lot.
Absolutely to the parking lot. There's some drivers that we've seen it very hard to slow these cars down, but some drivers coming in nearly full speed at the end. This is not the first time we've seen this happen. But yeah, it looked like that 88 started to tip around a little bit, and then the 17 just kind of caught him out on the bad way and really had nowhere to go as they came around. And there, I mean, the 70 upside down, that's Rick Kehoe. Multiple drivers involved with this. The big one here at Hickory Speedway.
I want an onboard from the 78 as we watch here from Keegan Bush, who is definitely caught in the big part of it here. Yeah, just seeing the undersides of cars is never good. Tyler Mueller managed to escape, and I think was the only one to escape clean. He may have had a couple little touches on the way in, but yeah, watch this. This is the perfect angle right here. The seas are just going to absolutely part.
Yeah, I mean, this is an absolute Moses moment here for him. You see the contact there in front. That's going to pull it up and around. May have caught a little bit of damage there on the side, but absolutely able to just slip his way on through.
Gifford also kind of got through there, but he definitely got damage out of it in that 46 machine. Curious who, honestly, it was able to get through there at all. If we have some more DNFs, yeah, Weissman is out now, it looks like. So that's our latest one lost from that one. I wonder if he was the driver that was kind of popped up into the air. That looked like a pretty hard hit for that car. Otherwise, actually, it doesn't look like I see too many other cars in pit lane or anything. Angel Ortega's been sitting in there. Not sure if he'll be able to. Yeah, Ortega's actually just coming out now, but he's no, Ortega's on the lead lap. Oh, well, that is good for him. He has managed to keep with the lead pack, and hopefully will be able to work his way back up to the front. Remember, Angel looked very strong in the heat race.
Yeah, looked very strong in the heat race, and that was similar to what we saw last time around. Didn't have the best qualifying, but certainly was able to put himself into a good position to get himself up into the front of the field here as they run. The lights are out, though, on the iRacing safety car. We're going to go back to green flag conditions with Tyler Muller at the front of the field.
Green flag is indeed out, and Tyler, your new leader. It's been the 88 for so much time. What has the 78 got to try and hold the others back? We know Gifford is quick over a single lap as he took the pole on the initial race weekend here last week. He's going to follow him around here on the second lap under green. Behind them, watch out for Spats and Matt Urban, driver who started on the pole for this race.
Yeah, Urban certainly has been just clocking in the laps here at this point. 45, making 44 to go as they cross over the line here at this point. Trying to be able to see what they can do. A little bit of spacing out up at the front of the field. That's going to be good, I think, as these drivers start to settle in a little bit more and maybe get a good green flag run under their belts. For
those who weren't here for earlier in the broadcast, Urban was on the pole due to a regrid of the top 6, mind you, but still, that's within the top 6 that he started, which I think only one other driver in these top 6 started there. That is Mueller, your current leader. On board with Troughton now in the 25. Boy, he has been in and out of the wars today, too.
Yeah, he certainly has, and a lot of credit here has to go to Kenny. Up 8 positions since the drop of the green flag. He has just been the Energizer Bunny. Just keep going here at this point, and just continues to go. Almost contact there with the outside retaining wall, but he'll keep it clean and continue to try to move his way up on Deegan Smith. Meanwhile, up for the lead, Tyler Muller having a little bit of an attack from Gifford.
John's been keeping him honest here. Looking left and right, trying to see if he can find some sort of opening. Look at him try and dime it off the entry to see if he can get the run, but it's just not quite there. 40 laps to go now for these drivers. They're into the meat of this race. He takes a big look down to the inside, does the 46. He is eager to make this pass quickly. Yeah, he wants to be able to try to get this, I think, with the looming threat here of another yellow flag. Gifford wants to be able to get into the front of this field and control this race as much as possible, and I fully understand that impetus. Especially with how close they still are to Timmy Spats behind. I'm sure if he feels like he has the pace, he doesn't want to be under threat for even losing second place, even though they've got time to go in this event. But nothing has been given him the top spot quite yet. It's been a pretty brick wall from Tyler Mueller up at the front, just running his racing line. Yeah, and that's exactly what he is able to do here at this point. You're up in the lead of this race. You can dictate the lines you want to run. You can dictate how you want them to be run, and that's exactly what he needs to do. Wide line coming off the corner, but that's not going to hurt him because he's just able to keep doing what he wants. You know how Keegan Bush, a little bit farther back in the field, back down in about 10th position right now, make that 9th. Oh, this time he actually gets inside of him. Back up at the lead. The 46 is there, but he gets loose, and he spins to the inside, and that brings out the caution. It was a good, valiant effort, but John just did not have the grip underneath him. I wonder if he didn't have enough tire. Yeah, I wonder if that could be the case. Again, using that apron to try to rotate the car as much as possible. We see him here coming through 3 and 4 off the line right there. A little bit of a twitch on the back of the car. Takes that look down to the inside. Was there contact? It didn't look like there was. And I think you're right, Joe. Those rear tires just giving up on him. He was pinched to the bottom. Couldn't track out on the outside. Car didn't seem to want to accept it. And what a brilliant move. I mean, that tiny little opening. It was a crack in the armor, and he was able to get himself in due to that, but couldn't do anything with it once he got his fingers there. Yeah, just a slow and lazy spin that we saw there from him, wheeling that car around here at this point. That's going to give control of the field back over to Tyler Mueller. Good run for Tyler. Remember, he started all the way back down in P5 here at this point as they try to be able to just get their way up forward. And Tyler has kind of been in the running here today, all day. And he has certainly been one of those drivers to keep an eye on. So we still have the likes of Matt Urban, as I mentioned, our pole sitter, as a possibility on this one. So I'm sure he'd love, well, what wouldn't be a lights to flag, but from the outside look like that for sure, based on the stats. We'll see if he can manage that. But Mueller, I have to say, I'm very, very much impressed with the way that he has been handling this race. Timmy Spatz, though, that's the dark horse for me on this one, DJ, as it looks like they're going to hold off on the restart. They are going to try the double file again. They're extending the leash on the drivers a little bit.
All right, well, with about 35 laps to go here in this race, I mean, I do love it, and that certainly will be a little bit of an interesting run here. It's going to make things more competitive. It's going to really amp up the stakes here at this point.
All right, let's see if they can handle it. I'm going to just hide behind the couch for a bit on this one because it didn't go well at the start of this race, but hopefully with it being a much smaller field, I mean, we are down to only 16 cars racing right now. That's not on the lead lap. That's racing total. As the green flag is out, no, they've turned it back to single file, it looks like. So they decided they did not want to do the double file on this one. And it is, Mueller is going to restart at the front ahead of Spatz. Matt Urban in third. Battle for fourth, though, behind them.
Yeah, that's Moniak trying to send a big move around the outside. We ride on board with Jake Sylvia here. Remember, he had that problem a little bit earlier on. Sylvia all the way up to 8th place here at this point. Following that, he's going to move down to the inside as he's going to find his row blocked in front of him with a little bit of Noah's Ark.
But Deegan Smith made a good pass on that one. The 15 now up into 4th position. He can try to charge forward and see if he can catch those top 3. Lap 69 of the race here as we ride on board with Kenny Troughton to the inside of the 3.
Yeah, he's just sending moves down to the inside there of Moniak. Moniak, I think, maybe out of tires here a little bit. That car just not looking like it's got the grip here at this point. But this is Troughton doing a good job. And I think for him, what he wants to do is just follow in the tire tracks here of Jake Sylvia. He knows that car's got speed.
Yeah, I'm sure Sylvia's hard charging his way back forward. I don't think he got much damage from that initial wreck, him being involved in the big one, if you will, and is back up to 6th place. Back to Timmy Spatz now. Last time it was a car trying to get to the inside of Mueller after he made a mistake. It was Timmy watching that. Does he have the ability to try to repeat that feat?
Well, let's see if he does indeed. A little bit of a twitch there out of Tyler Mueller up in front of him as they try to go down through the corner here at this point. And Urban looked like he was going to close up behind. Now Deegan Smith going to have a little bit of a look down at the inside of the 48. That's a battle for P3.
And Smith is going to be able to do it. He gets it to the side of Urban just slightly for the podium spot. Can the 15 finish the job? Looks like he's got that shorter line working for him. No, great run off of turn 4 here from Urban.
Yeah, Urban really fighting back. We ride on board with Nick Rayberg here at this point. He's going to try to pick the pocket here at the 48 of Matt Urban. If that is Deegan Smith is able to get on through, but Urban is not letting this go quietly.
And Spatz, look at Spatz. He's up to the inside of Tyler. He's going to try and take this lead away. They're 2 by 2 for 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th now.
Deegan Smith able to get the move in for P3, but the battle's still on for P2 here at this point. They're going to be side by side. Spatz has got the line. Spatz has got the position with a big wiggle there from Tyler Mueller.
I said he was the dark horse, and now that dark horse is leading as we got a wreck behind. Oh, that was almost instant. A car getting turned around, and I think it was Deegan initially. And then everybody behind him could not avoid, including Jake Silva once again.
Sylvia here just getting the bad brakes across the board. Now the 15 here, looks like he may have gotten into the front of the car in front of him. That started the tip around and then the check up, moving back down through the field as we've seen so many times here today.
And a few other cars afterwards kind of just having lazy spins, trying to avoid all that action. This is Sylvia's perspective. Yeah, my goodness, usually the spins have been kind of, you know, you can almost see them coming, but this one was just, the touch was there and woof, everybody was around.
Yeah, exactly. That was really, really unfortunate there at that point. You could just see this as we watch again, coming down into the corner, just that little bit of a touch from front, touch from behind, boom, 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 and everybody gets spun.
And unfortunately for Urban, he did get turned around in that, so he's been sent down the order, trying to figure out where exactly that put him on timing and scoring. Without the caution laps counting, it does mess with our timing and scoring, unfortunately. So I don't have an accurate reading, at least for the time being, but you saw him there slide to the inside infield there. as opposed to the outside infield, I suppose. But he was able to get it going, but lost that valuable track position. And this means I think that Spatz should still be our leader.
Yeah, Spatz is still going to be counted as your leader. I think Tyler Muller will be counted in P2. And look at this, Kenny Troughton. We've been following him a lot over the course of this race. Kenny now finds himself in P3.
Wow. Great job for him hanging on. Like you said, keeping on. Can he do it here? Are we going to go? No, okay. They try to restart double file, but they've called it off last second. And Pace Car is going to pick them up once again. So they're going to try this again and make sure that they can actually get a double file restart. Here we go. Just got word from Race Control. They are going green this time for sure. Everybody has now stacked up. Of this field of a mere 16 cars left, make that 15 right now as Rayberg is out of it. And the green flag is out. Pretty good jump there from Timmy Spatz. He's going to have a clear shot down to turn 1.
Yeah, clear shot down to turn 1, able to get that car rotated and down through the corner. Muller trying to keep up to the back of it. A little bit of side-by-side farther back of the field with Gifford and Ortega as we've got 2 cars in the wall.
Yep, so Joey Steenbergen, of course, in that one again, but again, not his fault on this one. I think Ed Papineau and Deegan Smith, are the ones that were involved in this one. Something weird happened with the 10 there. I need another look here from on board. This is Ed Papineau. Oh, he spun the tires.
Yeah,
and then he couldn't steer it
there. Yeah. I wonder if that first hit that he got there off to the left-hand side of the track, if that maybe damaged the steering a little bit as he tried to come down. Spins the tire. Oh, I don't know if that was the spin of the tire. I think that was contact from behind from Sylvia, Joe.
You're absolutely right. He got helped. So that wasn't his doing. This is Sylvia. He thought he was on the gas at the right time. It just pushes him out of the way. Didn't mean to. And I mean, there's a reason those tires are there on the outside to try and stop big accidents like that from becoming awful accidents. And unfortunately, it really didn't do much for the 10 car, who is now sitting in pit lane having to wait patiently for repairs.
Yeah, they're going to have to get repairs done on it. That's going to bring our field down to about 14 cars out on track here at this point. We are going to try to go back to another double file restart here yet again, as Race Control has said that that's what they want to do here at this point, and we're going to try to get back to racing. Only 24 laps to go, so we're certainly starting to close down on that finish line. All
right, going to be restarting here soon on lap 78, it looks like, with Tyler Mueller on the outside of Timmy Spatz. He lost that lead. He had it briefly. Is he going to be able to try and do something to pry it from the hands of the 54? As the pace car gets ready to pull in. Nope, excuse me, we have one more lap to go.
Yeah, one more lap under safety car conditions here at this point. Spatz and Muller going to be lining up. Keep your eye on Kenny Troughton and Josh Flynn here at this point. Is a name we have not called nearly all night long. Flynn in 4th place right now. He's doing a great job, the number 23 in prime position.
Both he and Troughton up 13 spots respectively. They have done a fantastic job doing exactly what you said at the start, keeping out of trouble as the green flag waves and down into the first corner. It's a hard charge by by Mueller, who tries around the outside, actually carries the speed. He doesn't have clear though. He can't get to the bottom quite yet. Spatz is going to fight back. This is for the top spot right now.
Yeah, and this is going to be a side-by-side battle. And whoa, big wiggle there out of both cars as they came down through turns 1 and 2. Another big wiggle for the 54 of Timmy Spatz as he comes down through 3. These tires are screaming out in agony with the number of laps that we've run here tonight.
Tyler can't quite hold on, but he finds some room. I don't know how. I thought the 25 was going to be able to get him in that one. Oh, but we got a wreck behind on the 46 of Gifford. He's around Urban involved in it.
Oh, unfortunate blow there for Gifford. He's going to find himself pointed the wrong way right now. We jump back to take a look at the replay. 46 coming down into the corner. Does he get a little bit of help here? Yes, he does. Tries to get it back up underneath him, and then another hit just for good measure.
Yeah, Urban was trying to back it up again. Just chain reaction. Couldn't slow up in time. Ortega in the 26 was behind them. Ortega's back on the lead lap once again, and he's in 5th position now, it looks like. So Josh Flynn, does he stay out of it? Just enough space to the outside, about a lane's worth.
Oh, that is absolutely remarkable there for him to be able to get his way on through. Josh, a very, very lucky customer there.
21 laps left on this one. It has been an outright slog, unfortunately, with all the cautions that we have seen. But I got to say, I have a lot of admiration for those drivers that are still out there, and especially those at the lead of this race, managing this one, putting themselves in the right spot when it matters at the end. But we've been starting to wonder a bit in the background, does the 25 have a bit more tire than Mueller and Spatz? Because those two do look quite loose.
Yeah, they do look very, very loose here at this point, as it is very, very sketchy running. Again, not that much running here for these drivers under green. I mean, we've only gone about 80 laps. These tires should make it, but certainly having a very, very tough run with just as many laps as we put down under caution here for them.
Okay, so we get ready to get started once again. We're not double file quite yet, so we'll need another lap around. Certainly Spatz and Mueller are ready to go. They're almost side by side already. But this race has been chewing up cars and spitting them out, as it looks like lights are off on the pace car. How many more will it gobble up before this is done? As we get ready to take the green 2 wide all the way down for the 8 rows or 6 rows left. Lost count a little bit. There is the green flag. Last time out, Spatz was trying to fight hard from the inside, and Mueller was trying to make him work hard for it from the outside. This time, though, Spatz with a much better run through 1 and 2, cut back down to the bottom immediately from the 78.
And here they go as they try to run through the corner. Looks like the rest of the field relatively single file as they go here at this point. Oh, big wiggle there from Kenny Troughton. That's going to open up the door for Angel Ortega.
There goes that theory. Troughton apparently losing a bit of the grip himself. Angel Ortega, who made it, had to fight his way in through the consolations to try and come from the back of the field here, is now up into the podium spots. Josh Flynn, who made that amazing escape before, is up into P4 after the 25 is dropping.
Yeah, dropping like a stone here, stuck on the outside. Jake Sylvia tries to work down to the low side there of Kenny Troughton. He's going to keep pushing that advantage as much as possible. 17 to go. Oh, has to check up his momentum a little bit. That's going to give the low line back to Kenny Troughton.
I wonder if Sylvia is dealing with some sort of damage out there, because usually he was much quicker at the start of this race and then controlled it for a long ways. Since then, we haven't really seen him up at the front, and Mueller has a big bobble. He has to fall back behind Ortega.
And Ortega now is going to hold on to that second place position as Josh Flynn tries to also put Tyler Mueller down, and it looks like he's going to do just that. Kenny Troughton now going to be the next car to try to make that move, but it looks like the number 78 is going to be able to slot back in the line.
As we hop on board with the 25, looking forward at the front group. He might lose the position down underneath him. The 88 has a big try. Couldn't see it, but he gave it a right go at it. Didn't work, at least this time around. 14, make that 13 laps to go as we cross the line once again. Spatz is certainly appreciating the drama behind him, because he's starting to run away as we go over to Matt Urban now.
Yeah, getting a little bit feisty there, moving his way through the field, getting by Kendall Becker. Kendall Becker all kinds of loose coming off of turn 2. That's also going to open up the door for Matthew Moniak. We've got a turnaround, and that is again the number 88 machine being spun, cars on their lids.
Oh, that 25. After all he was doing right in this race, it went wrong in this last stint in a big way. Turned upside down, he winds up on his wheels, but certainly has a lot of damage on that one. This started with the 26 of Ortega, actually. If we jump forward up in the pack here, he gets turned, big checkup behind him. He catches it, actually, a little bit of help from Flynn. And then it looks like, I think the 88 just didn't have enough time to react.
Yeah, just didn't really have enough time to be able to get themselves back on through. Let's watch this again on board with Kenny Troughton. Yeah, contact there into the 88 with that little bit of a wiggle, and Troughton goes for a big, big ride.
So apologies to Sylvia. Yeah, it was Troughton that turned him around instead. 46 plowing into him that turns him over. Urban got a big hit. The 20 of Kendall Becker got multiple runs into him. So he also got some severe damage on that one. 12 laps to go, and we go back to caution once again. One thing that we do have to keep in mind is if we get to 1 lap to go, once that white flag is out, we cannot see another caution. The race will go to the checkered flag. So if we do get some more cautions here, the goal is to just reach that white flag, and then we'll get that final green flag lap.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they're aiming for here at this point, as we just continue to push our way along right now. Let's see, though, as I think we are going to have a little bit of an interview here with Kenny Troughton.
Howdy. How's it going?
Indeed, Kenny. Well, it was actually starting to look pretty good. We were speculating that you had good tires there at the end, but then we saw a little slip up. What was the state of your rubber?
And after that last restart, I was pretty loose, I'm not going to lie. I don't know what happened, if they just fell off or what, but then that checkup for this last caution, I probably just killed them with more turning around, so.
You're not usually supposed to see the pavement above you. How is the car right now?
Well, you know, I kind of felt like Ricky Bobby there. I almost thought about getting out of the car, running around, but it's still going. I don't have a meatball, so we're just going to keep her out here for this last 11.
All right, turn the ignition on and drive it home. Best of luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, so Troughton's going to stick with it, and we're going to get a restart with Timmy Spatz on the point, and Ortega somehow still behind him, but he's under threat as the green flag comes out. Looking up the inside, Tyler Mueller wants that one back immediately with 11 to go.
He wants it back, but he got a big wiggle coming at it too, and that had to really get him off the pace there at that point. Spatz leading the way, but Angel Ortega looking very, very strong here as he tries to close in on the back of your leader.
Wasn't even phased, my goodness. Yes, look at him, already filling up the mirrors of the 54. So far, Timmy Spatz has not been able to be overtaken by anybody since he took this lead away a few laps ago. And as they plunge down into 1 and 2, can the 26 be the first to do it? He ducks back underneath. Looks like he's got quite a bit of tire. He is able to get underneath them, down through 3 and 4. Is the job done yet? No, it's not.
Spatz fights back along the outside here, trying to run that high line to the best of his ability. Contact between your two leaders here at this point, and that is going to be Angel Ortega muscling his way through.
And there's the yellow. That's going to give the lead to the 26. He got his elbows out. Poor Kenny Troughton. What a pour into what was a great race up to now. He's involved in another one.
Yeah, not sure exactly what the cause of this was. We're going to jump back here to check out the replay. That's Troughton down to the inside. Looks like a little bit of contact there with the 48 machine, and that just sends him right around.
Bit of a shame that one was off into the grass, but I guess when he backed up onto the track, that kind of triggered the yellow a little bit there. And here we're going to watch it from on board. Urban there on the left of the screen. Yeah, I don't think he even realized that he pinched him as close as he did.
Yeah, I don't think he did either there. Just an absolutely close run there at that point, and that is not what he wanted to have to go. And my goodness gracious, certainly a very, very tough run there for him.
Well, this has seen so many players work their way to the front, find themselves looking like a good shot at the win, and then it all falling apart. Is Spatz the latest of that trend? Can he hold on to this here? And will Ortega steal it? Because, I mean, so far it's been a bit of a curse to be our leader in this race. Not sure if I'd want to be at the front. And actually, Ortega was supposed to be the leader, wasn't he not? They regridded him in second. This is interesting. Not sure what's going on. So here we go. Green flag is out. Spatz has the lead. Ortega immediately goes on the attack, but here comes Sylvia now.
Here comes Sylvia trying to see what he is able to do. We know the speed that he has at this point. The 27 going to get pushed up a little bit high as they run, and that's going to be Keegan Bush and Matt Urban trying to make that play. But here it comes, 6 to go for Angel Ortega to make a move.
The Phoenix of this race, the 88 of Jake Sylvia, coming back to try and see if he can still win this race with 6 laps left, but he's got to pass 2 cars to do it who are looking like they might battle soon. The Ortega, the 26, is still trying everything as, he gets a much better run. A bobble from Timmy Spatz hurts him as he flies back to 3rd.
He flies back to 3rd, almost doors there with Jake Sylvia, who's back on the attack here as they come across the line. Yellow flag in the air.
Trying to find it, and it looks like Moniak in the number 3 machine. I think he got a little loose, and unfortunately for him, Keegan Bush was trying not to send him the rest of the way around, but just could not keep it from happening. Oh, wow, that was a smack into that outside wall.
Yeah, it really was. That was a pretty hefty lick there at that point. We ride on board right now with Kenny Troutman, who had a bird's eye view of this entire situation as they come off the line. Wiggle, wiggle, bam, there into the outside wall.
So, interesting stuff on this one. And am I seeing correct? Is Ortega's now our leader? Oh, that's right. Okay, it already so much had happened. I forgot that Spatz had that slip up, and so this time Ortega gets to keep it. But the bad news is the 88 is the car behind.
Yeah, and what is going to happen off of this restart? 4 laps to go here when this green flag is going to fly. This is going to be a shootout to the finish, and keep your eye on Jake Silva. It is going to be crazy. He is going to be pushing like nobody's business here at this point.
Okay, they only have to be green for 3 of these laps, remember, because once the white flag is given to the leader, then they can finish the race under green. There's no yellow that can stop it. And that will also include these restarts. If they restart with 1 to go, that's it. It's not going to be going back to yellow. So watch out for that. And they continue behind the pace car with the lights out, as that I don't think we're going to be starting single file or double file. We are going to be starting single file because I haven't seen him change from race control recently.
Yeah, I think we will be starting it back as here we go. Angel Ortega leads us around.
So pace car stays out for 1 more lap, and I think this should be, yes, lights are off on the pace car. Are we going to be able to go green straight to the finish on this one? It has certainly been quite a long race, but the drivers have been dealing with it admirably. I have heard some tempers. That's understandable at a short track. You expect that. But for the most part, the latter half of the race has seen lots of great action. Ortega would like that action to finish with him in victory lane. Can he take it as the green flag is out? The 88 of Silva didn't look all that strong, but he only needs to be strong for the final lap.
Yeah, he certainly does. Going to try to ride up on the high line here at this point. Ortega just timing off the corner to the best of his ability. They'll come to the line here with 2 to go as Ortega tries to hold off Jake Sylvia.
Precious few last laps left. And certainly, Sylvia is feeling the damage on that right front as he brushes the wall a little bit. White flag, 1 to go. We are going green to the finish, and the 26 is way clear out at the front. Can he bring it around the last 2 corners to take home victory, fighting his way through the heat, through the consolation, and winning the feature here at round 2?
And that is what it's all about here for short track racing. Absolutely able to capitalize when others had problems. Angel Ortega, your victor here in Hickory Speedway.
What a race for Ortega from 15th on the grid. He's going to burn it down in celebration after that one, and I don't blame him. Got to be thrilled. Again, right place at the right time, had the speed when it mattered, held on to his stuff, and I'm sure there's damage on the car, but I'm looking at it, and compared to everybody else, I don't see all that much.
No, I certainly don't as well, and that was one of the keys to the race that we talked about here, Joe. Keep it clean as much as possible, and that's exactly what Angel Ortega was able to do.
The race may be over, but don't go away. After our short break for the Misfit Touring Series, we have the unofficial results as well as driver interviews coming up.
Janice.
What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. We've been doing it for American racing for over 50 years. Fuel your best.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Hickory Motor Speedway. After a long 100 laps, at least of green flag racing, we won't even be able to count how many yellows there were on that one. Angel Ortega is going to be your victor, coming up from 15th on the grid. Jake Sylvia fought hard to try and get back to the top spot after he unfortunately was spun and led a good chunk of this race, but was only able to make P2 in the end. Timmy Spatz was the last one on the podium in third. Matt Urban, P4, started from the pole. Actually, honestly, I would say a great job considering it was a regrid for that pole, and he still finished with a fourth place, showing he deserved to be up there. Keegan Bush was fifth, and Josh Flynn was sixth. Then it was Kenny Troughton, who amazingly, with a car that was on his lid at one point, finished seventh today. Deegan Smith was eighth, and Tyler Mueller ninth, with Kendall Becker in 10th.
It was Matthew Moniak, the last driver to finish on the lead lap, followed by some more drivers here. Gifford, Stenberg, and Stark, Papineau, Rayberg, Weissman, Reidner, Keyhole, and Demore, all having some very, very rough days out there today.
And from there on down, we've got Jeremy Rychecki, Travis Wilhite, Ryan Smith, Bradley Stefane, Jared Schell, and Ryan Walling rounding out your 26-car field. So we're gonna talk to Angel Ortega and have a chat with him. We've got Angel with us now. Angel, congratulations. It looked like it was a difficult race, to put it mildly. But once you were up into the lead, did you feel confident?
I did not really feel confident. It's my first time being up there in the front. So I was like, I had lots of nerves in there.
Well, I'm sure seeing the 88 with the speed he showed last race and all this one didn't make it any easier. Were you surprised then, in that case, that you held him back?
Yeah, actually it was, because I know Jake's a better racer than me. He's up in the front way more than I am. So I have lots of respect for him.
I can see why with the speed that he has shown so far. Obviously, this one got a little bit messy, but how did you manage to stay out of trouble? In fact, I really didn't see a whole lot of damage on your car from what I could tell.
Oh, I was in some trouble if you did not see that. I got turned in turn one once and once in the backstretch. I got my nose chopped. I got 2 months of damage. Got that repaired under all the cautions that we had, and somehow I was able to manage through it and get to the podium spots.
Well, we knew with this being such a small track, this is going to be difficult. How do you feel about heading to Rockingham next week?
Rockingham, ooh, I'm not the best at those big tracks. I'm really better at short tracks, not those big tracks.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a big track compared to what we've had these first 2 weeks. But congratulations on the win out there. Hopefully we'll see you up front again when we head over to the Rock.
Thank you. Hopefully we do.
That was Angel Ortega here in the number 26. And I believe DJ has caught up with Jake Sylvia.
I have indeed, Jake. Got to be a little bit of a disappointing race there for you. It looked like you had this one sewn up, and then just some incidents and accidents coming your way to kind of catch you off guard. But how does it feel here second on the day?
Yeah, it feels pretty awful, to be honest. First of all, I want to say full respect goes out to Angel. He's an amazing driver and deserved every single last bit of that. He had to fight for it just as much as anybody else did. No matter what the circumstance was, I had a restart on his bumper. And when I had a run, I stuffed it in the wall and threw that one away, or at least a chance at it. The invert was a lot different than last week. Last week, I started second, got the lead right away, led every lap. This one, I got the pole and found out there was an invert, had to start sixth. Didn't really make a difference. I was able to kind of card my way through the field. I got up there and I had Nick Rayberg kind of getting up on it on restarts with me. We were doing some good stuff, put on a good show while we could. Eventually, when we went single file, I was kind of worried about it. And ultimately, what played out is exactly why I was worried, because I got flat dumped. It's a shame. He moved his line before the restart, or before the start finish line, which automatically already was not allowed. And then he dumped me out of the corner, which is unfortunate. It wasn't over. My spotter got me back in it. Shout out to him. He kept me honest the whole night. We had 40 laps left. We fought our way all the way back up through. Got up there again. Sure enough, same guy spins out another one, and I ended up head on with a meatball. I told the race director that the car was able to, I was going to be able to complete the race, so he was able to clear it for me. I then did the same exact thing, got back up there, and once again got involved in another wreck. I don't know if anybody was as unfortunate as I was tonight. Easily the fastest car. I think we were a little bit tight to start, but it worked out in the long runs because every run that we had, everybody got loose, and I was just kind of driving away. So easily the best car. Ryan Kuhn really came with it this week. He gave me some stuff from the SAR races a couple weeks ago, and I was able to fine tune everything a little bit. And I mean, this thing was on rails. So there's no reason for this car to be in P2 tonight.
Well, I mean, obviously a little bit of disappointment there for you, but we head to a different style of track next time out in the form of Rockingham, a longer track, probably still just as bumpy. How do you like your chances there?
I've got to do a lot of testing. I got to figure out the tire wear situation. I haven't ran this car on any big tracks yet. If it's anything like what I'm expecting to, I don't think, I mean, aside from all the wrecking and everything, I don't think speed-wise we should be any different than tonight and last week. I'm already expecting to be right there with everybody else. I mean, tonight I showed up and right off the bat in practice was 2/10 up on the field. Some guys kind of brought it back. I ended up getting knocked off late in practice, which is kind of what I'm going to expect again. A couple of guys to be close there, but I don't think that anybody has the race pace we do with this car. I mean, it's just, this thing is, it's amazing every single time we hit the track for the race. The tires stay on it the whole time. So if I'm able to figure that out as a driver on how to save that right front, I've got a lot of confidence going into that one. That one's going to be a really good show. I think it'll definitely clean up a lot. I think a track like this is not suited for these cars with the way that iRacing is right now, with it all being one groove. But that track's going to be good. That's going to be a really good show.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it most certainly. And Jake, my friend, we will see you there next week at Rockingham.
Thank you.
And then, of course, we've got third place finisher Timmy Spatz ready to talk to us. Timmy, 4 laps to go, and you're in the lead, and the car gets loose. What's going through your mind?
I knew I didn't have the best car. I mean, in the middle of that race, I started really finding a groove, got to the front after that giant wreck, and I mean, I knew he had a better car than me, and my best option was just to hold my line. And then I got loose, and Jake got under me for second, and then Angel for first, and it was just disappointing.
I can only imagine, especially after you had been leading for a few laps, and frankly, did a fantastic job putting yourself in that position. I think you deserve credit for what was a brilliant move to get under Tyler.
Yeah, I mean, we started the race eighth, I think, and then I realized I didn't have enough fuel in the car to make it to the end, so had to pull in and restart at the back, and avoiding all the wrecks, and just got into a position where I can give Tyler a run for his money, and got past them, just couldn't hold off Angel for the win.
That explains that then, because I think we saw you go in early in the race and take a pit stop, and we were sitting there scratching our heads, going, "Well, these cars don't refuel during the race, and they can't get tires. What in the world is he doing in there?" So, mystery solved. We've talked a lot about with the other drivers, Rockingham coming up. I mean, if this thing seemed like it chewed up cars, I'm sure that place is going to look like a monster.
Yeah, I've never driven a track that big with these cars. I mean, these are really meant for short tracks, of course, and it's going to be a challenge, and we'll see what we can do midweek to work on some things and see if we can go for another podium there.
Well, as you said, I think at least having the pace for a podium is something to be proud of, especially in a race as chaotic as this. Congratulations finishing in the top 3.
Thank you guys for broadcasting.
Well, that was P3 for the number 54 of Timmy Spatz today, which is going to wrap us up. And as we said, we are heading off to Rockingham on November 25th at 4 p.m. Eastern. So make sure not to miss that right before we get into Thanksgiving. That is going to be a riot of a time there at that huge circuit. DJ, I mean, like we've said, we kind of expected this would be a little bit like this, but what are your ultimate thoughts today?
I mean, my ultimate thoughts here today is the green flag action that we saw was absolutely spectacular, and I am very much looking forward to what we're going to see at Rockingham. As Jake said, it's going to be a completely different race. It's still going to be bumpy. It's still going to be difficult for these drivers, but you let them loose on a little bit of a longer circuit. Hopefully we get a little bit more spaced out, get those yellows under control, and it's going to be one heck of a race.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to put on a pretty good show out there. It usually does. So thank you to everybody for joining us here tonight. And of course, I want to thank the team today, DJ, Ryan, and Dougie. Make sure and join us on November 25th. But until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.